시세요 파는 가ட்டு죠 매주 가ட்டு죠 너무요 요요 시카가 심리가 쓰쓰 루비 허기 가ட்டு죠 미아 Hi! Oh, hi! Thank you. How are you guys doing? You guys doing good? Zanery, Hoppin, Chris, Francis, hello. Cyberdog, woof 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 woof. Go for the eyes. Go for the eyes, boo. Hello. Did you guys see the Kingdom Come video? It's so good. We'll play Kingdom Come later today. I still haven't decided that if I just keep streaming or if we make a pause so I can have lunch and then we stream again at the normal time. I guess I'll decide when this ends, and then I'll tell you guys. Hi, hello. Hold on. Oh, what happened? One sec. Hi. Did you guys have a good day? Yeah, Kingdom Come Kill was really fun. Oh yes. Fun stuff. Yeah. So this is going to be an open world survival game, and I really like those games. I especially play them a lot. I sound sleepy. You sound sleepy. I'm not sleepy. You're sleepy. You're projecting. Okay? You're very projecting. Sunsprite, thank you so much for the 5 months of support. Blackjack and hookers from my bunny. So sweet. Nice, Hollow Knight. Nice, Sunsprite. Thank you for the 5 months. Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging how sleepy you are. Heck. My mom called me after the stream yesterday, and she was like, that jacket you were wearing was very pretty. I was like, thanks, Mom. Thanks. So I'm wearing it again for my mom. Gosh. So what have you guys been playing? I feel like this game looks really good. I don't know. Do you guys like huge worms coming from below? Nice, Kaladin, nice. Well, I can tell you guys even more stuff about the Kingdom Come stuff later today. I can tell a bit now. Yukong, maybe we'll play some Yukong this weekend. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking. On the weekend, the stream is gonna be a little bit different, but I think it's still going to be fun. But it's gonna be different. A little bit. Just a little bit different. Hi. Oh, you've been playing Pathfinder. Cool, cool. Space travel to the future. Oh, nice, nice, Kings, nice. Gosh. No, Gray, no. It's gonna be different in a different way. Did I feel the archery different in Kingdom Come 2? Okay, Kaladin, I didn't really get to use a bow in Kingdom Come 2, but I got to use a crossbow. And I can tell you that using a crossbow in Kingdom Come 2 is definitely a lot easier than using the bow in the first game. The archery, I feel like it's still going to be an option. And the difference between the archery and the crossbow is that the crossbow takes longer for you to reload the bullet. But using the crossbow is a lot easier than using a bow. So I feel like it's up to the player, what they prefer. If you're really good at being an archer, in Kingdom Come, you can still use a bow and be good at it. And if you suck like I do, you can use a crossbow. And I feel like that's a great compromise. Yes, you also have medieval guns. Yeah, but the guns, they take a long time for you to reload. So it's going to be something that you shoot and then you swap out of it. You're asking my top 3 games of all time? Oh, I can tell you the first, Baldur's Gate, and then I'll make a list of 10 games that I really like, and I'll tell you about The Witcher 3, I'm gonna tell you about Cyberpunk, I'm gonna tell you about Dragon Age, I'm gonna tell you about Mass Effect, I'm going to tell you... the list is long. So the second spot, they kind of like swaps a lot depending on my mood, the third spot as well. So that's why the list is so long, you know? Yeah. Yeah. By the way, you guys, this is a sponsored segment. I love that we got sponsored to see the gameplay of a game that I'll probably play a lot off stream. so please just click the link, because then I can keep only accepting sponsorships that I find fun and relevant and of games that I like. That means a lot. Manos, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate your support to Blackjack and hookers from my bunny. The money goes to Blackjack and hookers from my sweet bunny, and for things like the mind flayer and
Test. Hello.
Oh, test. I think they're on.
Phone check. Can you hear me?
Krabs, I feel like we're about to figure out all this info now. Yeah. Can you guys hear the stream? You can, right? You can.
A bit low. Okay. Louder. How about now?
Yeah. Okay, good. So after this, we'll play some Kingdom Come. We'll play some Kingdom Come, and I can tell you guys more. It's low, but yes. Tell me if it's better, and tell me if it's too loud.
Yeah, the music's kind of variable volume, so it's hard for me to keep my voice
Thanks,
balanced over.
Who knows?
It's not my home setup, so I don't have that much.
Yeah. Yep. I feel like they're still doing setup stuff.
So yeah, in about 5 minutes, we're going to switch over to the show floor here at Gamescom.
So 5 minutes.
And we're going to be watching the 30-minute gameplay reveal.
30 minutes.
Even louder? Okay, we're going super loud. Hello.
Is this loud enough? Yes. It's kind of like Once Human, yes.
And then after the gameplay reveal, I'm going to be sat with one of the devs, and we're going to just talk about the game.
That's cool stuff.
And then we can see your questions in chat as well, so we can respond in chat.
Cool. Yeah. Sounds
This section of the stream is sponsored by Funcom, so thank you, Funcom, for having me out to Gamescom. They can't get rid of me, to be honest. They were like, "Do you want to play the game for 30 minutes in the back?" And I went and sat there for like 4 hours. They kept going away and coming back and go, "You still here, Zach?" I'm like, "Yeah."
That's good to know, I guess. That's really good to know.
You're at Gamescom? Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So, this is what he said. This is also sponsored, but they didn't fly me to Gamescom, which is probably a good thing. I feel like I traveled quite a bit.
I wasn't recording. They have like a set of demo stations here that people can play for like 30 minutes. But then I was like,
it's streamer privilege.
The PCs with like a hack button. So
of course, the streamer could play it for 4 hours.
And then I got to play more stuff than normally you see on the show floor.
Right? Like the normal people play for 30 minutes. The streamer can just sit in the back playing.
By a worm. No comment.
Listen.
When is it starting? In like 5 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Wait, are they in? Yeah. So yeah, I'm here.
Do you think the worm looks?
Hello.
Oh.
I'm like fully
I need to
like
get out of
still suited out of my mind.
Okay, hold on.
I keep getting people stopping me on the show floor because they think I'm a cosplayer. So they're like, "Hey, can we get pictures?" And I'm just like, "I'm going to the bathroom, please."
I think this is good, right? Is it okay if I'm a little bit
like
out of the window just so I don't take a lot of
feet.
space? He does have a face.
Shenanigans.
Is that what you could?
You can't really see it on the camera, but I can't bring the camera down because there's so much equipment. It's like too much stuff. Recycle the water. I need to find my recycling tube. But
what's the recycling
shout out to
tube?
Shannon for having someone make me my Fremen suit.
Yeah,
just pee in the still suit. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll watch the gameplay of Dune, and then right after we'll play some Kingdom Come. I don't know why.
No, but it's so hot in Germany. I think I've lost about a third of my body weight in sweat.
Ugh! I hope you showered before
they're doing
this.
like live demonstrations here at the show floor.
Don't know.
So we're going to actually get to watch.
Thank you.
The live demonstration, but also there's Mario and Tasha from Funcom will be.
Can you guys see my legs here?
As well, talking through what you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah, you can see my legs for a little bit. The suit recycles your pee into drinkable water?
The neck bit to look cool. It's like a full cape. Like I don't know if you saw the Instagram post. Actually, I posted like a story on Instagram of like, hey, about to start the stream, and like the Dune movie and Legendary are going to retweet it, which is pretty crazy.
I believe it. Yeah, he's wearing the outfit you'll be wearing in the game. I wonder if the pee filtering thing is a thing.
Yeah, it's such a pain to get. There's like 1,000 straps and bolts, and it takes forever to get into it. It's like a full-on.
It's not going to show us the pee place, right?
And stuff everywhere. And I'm wearing it slip fashion, obviously.
I hope he doesn't.
What's going on in there? They're getting hyped up.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, in a few minutes we're going to be watching.
At least we'll be traumatized together.
And then afterwards I'll be sat here with a dev who won't be dressed as an idiot, or normal clothes, and we'll be talking about the game. And I'm going to try and
why they didn't dress the devs?
I'm going to try and sneak in a few questions about things that weren't in the gameplay reveal. Like, oh, what about and see if they answer, and then you'll be like, oh.
The devs should be dressed too. I noticed the same thing in the Kingdom Come event.
Is her funny pack? Oh, so like, yeah, I borrowed this off.
They hired people to dress as knights, but none of the devs were dressed as knights.
The only non-Fremen bit.
None of them. Meanwhile, the people were dressed as knights in the sun, and the armor's weighing like 30 kilos.
It's hot in a t-shirt, and I'm wearing like skin-tight leather straps.
Kinky. Kinky.
Shrouds in the chat. Shrouds in the chat.
Devs are serious people. They just really like t-shirts, and they're not willing to compromise their t-shirts.
Compared to their other overalls. Conan Exiles. I'm sure that'll come up anyway. No pressure, but the whole world is watching. Thank you, Shroud. Like I'm not sweating enough in this thing, dude.
Swattington.
How they
Would I
looking,
say
still
Kingdom Come 2
bringing
is
people in?
close? Just Swattington. It's
Can
hard
I
for
pee in the
me
suit? No.
to
So
compare.
like, if I go to the bathroom now, like one of the public bathrooms at Gamescom,
Because
I have to spend,
Cyberpunk
like,
has
10
like so many
minutes
neon
unzipping,
lights
unclipping, unstrapping.
and reflections and shadows.
Not fun at all.
Does that make sense?
But luckily, I went to the bathroom before I put it on, and then I'm like, I'm not consuming
Yeah, but
any moisture.
I just need to see.
It's the co-carnage.
I don't know.
That
It's
suit
hard to
looks
say. It looks
slimming.
really
Aw,
good,
thank
but
you. It is slimming because I think I've lost about 50 pounds.
no.
in
We
just
are going
water
to
weight.
watch some Dune gameplay, and then we'll play some Kingdom Come. Yeah, that suit has a urine filter. He was just saying about it how he plans on drinking his pee, like in the end of this. I'm not making this up. He really said that, right, guys?
There's a Dune statue out front, which is this thing here. So everyone's taking pictures of it. And like, I was stood there to cool off. It's cooler out there than in here. And like, random people, like attendees and stuff, would just walk up and like put their arm on me, like, hey, and take a picture because they thought I was like a paid cosplayer.
Nice city, but medieval. Yep.
Yeah, there's a weird fisheye lens. Yeah, these are like wide-angle GoPros, so you can see the end of the wall over there is like.
Nobody looks good in
bulging.
these. They're just like they
It's a gameplay
stretch
reveal. You
you.
can actually do what you want. I'm not playing, Mike. It's a presentation, so it's like loads of gameplay footage going through the core like survival gameplay loop.
I didn't have the time
but
bar.
it's
Was it good?
yeah. I won't be playing myself. I have played. I played for like it's like a 30-minute demo, but I played for like 4 hours.
The privilege.
You're a paid cosplayer. Here's the thing: other people, like friends, like at the convention, kept coming up to me and saying,
No, I think they will show the
"Oh,
gameplay.
it's so cool that they got you a Fremen suit made." I'm like, "No, Shannon got me a Fremen suit
They
made.
say that
I'm
it's
just
gonna be
crazy."
30 minutes gameplay and then an interview with the dev.
This isn't even part of it. I could be wearing a T-shirt right now, but Shannon went full shy halud.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to check the microphones. Okay, so we're going to introduce some more microphones. 2 seconds.
Several streamers are actually joining us tonight, so thank you very much for being with us.
Ooh.
So we have about 30 minutes of gameplay
Okay,
presentation
enjoy. I'm
for
gonna be
you.
on it. I'm
We'll
gonna
talk
mute my
a little
mic
bit
for this
about
bit.
base mechanics that you encounter at the start of the game. There's a lot to the game, but we don't have the time to talk about everything, and also we don't want to just yet.
Can
but
you hear?
hopefully we can get you excited about the game either way. So as I mentioned, it's about 30 minutes that we'll talk about the game. I have Mario here with me. Mario is art director at Funcom.
Cool.
And I am Natasha. I'm global PR manager
they can
at
see.
Funcom. And we are very excited to talk to you about this gameplay today. And I think with that, we just jump right into it.
Yeah, welcome guys. This is basically the start of the game, like the intro sequence that you see here. This is basically about creating your character. So obviously, like in many other
Cool.
games, you have a lot of sliders and a lot of possibilities to basically to customize the character that you
Cool.
want, to create the character that you want, and the one that you identify yourself with later on. Of course, like all sorts of facial structures, like nose, eyes, lips, everything can be customized. Also, like for
The
each
hair
section,
looks
also,
really
like,
good.
with whatever. The age, like skin.
Games usually
type of
have
skin,
lots of
skin
trouble
color,
making curly
eye
hair look
color like
good.
now.
And it looks amazing.
This is just an example, so you have lots of possibilities and really create the character that you want.
The eyes are making me like
You
feel
would
scared.
Seeing like different hairstyles.
Ooh. Ooh. You can be bald if you want. It's right here.
Also like bone structure, facial structure, like a lot of
Face tattoos. Games love face
some makeup,
tattoos.
together with some tattoos.
If some aliens invade
eyeliner
Earth,
now.
This
And
is, of
some-
course,
And
still
all
work
the
in
history they
progress
have
well,
from
so
us
we'll
as
add
video
way
games.
more features as well as the game progresses.
they will think that every human had a face tattoo.
Yeah, and once you're done, so now we're basically creating or selecting a more standard character, male one, and then you have like the physical sections of like height of the character, like thickness, width in general. And once you're happy with your selection, then you just put in your name, and then you can get started.
And superpowers, lots of superpowers. Thickness.
Have they told you what I am?
Reverend Mother?
Then I will sift your words for lies. Let's begin. Where were you born?
And for those who know the books or the movies, the
A
Reverend
world
Mother
of
is a very
water,
important character. So
home
she
world of
basically
the
serves
Atreides.
here as the
Where's
to help you define the background of your character. So what planet you're from,
Did you
like
give
what
bad
caste you're
advice?
from,
Or make a bad deal?
especially
Yes, the
also
fairy
like
godmother,
define how
godmother.
any of your
Walk the
options
knife's
that you're
edge.
giving here, dialogue options,
was
will define also like the later dialogue options in the
Yes,
game.
this is
Aside
multiplayer.
from this section where you're defining basically like
You
your
must have been
pre-star or
very
like
young.
starting
The
class.
mind must be
It's more like a
prepared, or
preset,
the
it's not like a
training
fixed
does
class
not.
already. So you still have a
test
chance to
is
later on
almost
to
complete.
completely customize and change
Have
to
you
whatever you
spoken
want.
truth? Come here. Kneel.
And of course,
This
with
woman
the voice,
scares me.
She attracts the player to do the final
Put
test
your
with the flame
hand
box
in the box.
and using the gunja bar.
I hold at your neck the Gonja Bar, the high-handed enemy. Don't pull away or you will die. Great plots are afoot in the Imperium, and the
Keep in mind
currents
this
of
is beta
intrigue
footage, so
run
there
deeply.
might be sections in the game that are not completely
Arrakis
finished
is the key.
or something that you
And the
might think
Fremen.
is a little bit weird.
The Fremen
So
are
keep this in mind.
You will go to Arrakis as our
So the
agent
story that the
prisoner.
player is playing through is very
You have
important,
one task.
and we don't want to spoil
Please
too
don't.
much here.
Fremen,
So this means we're
Wake
gonna
the
jump over a few
sleeper.
scenes here.
you will know when it is done.
This looks really good. But I don't want to be stabbed. It looks really, really good.
As we now wake up in a mysterious cave. So survival games have a reputation of being quite rough at the beginning, or not rough, but they don't really explain a lot at the beginning. They kind of throw the player in the thick of it. And we have a slightly different approach here. So we have something we call the NPE, or the new player experience. It's still a bit on the construction, but basically we want to have an area here where we can teach the players.
I've
the
been in
basics.
this place. It's in Arizona.
You see here, you're actually surrounded by mummified Fremen. You also see Fremen symbols on the wall.
He has a
But,
nice ass.
Obviously, that's important for the story, but you, as a player, don't know exactly what that means and what you stumbled into.
It looks really good.
So, as we make our way here through the cave,
I'm used to
we're
getting
gonna
worms up
find
my
our
eye,
first
not
very
up my butt.
important item here, which is a Frem kit. Frem kits are, of course, very important in the Dune universe. It's the backpacks, basically, that the Fremen use to survive in the desert. And we also get one as a player. It's very empty at the beginning. It will fill up eventually as you play through the game, but right now it's very empty. And we basically use it to teach the player that you can craft very basic items in your inventory.
Yeah, this stream is sponsored. Well,
You
I'm
make
not
a
supposed to
scrap
be
metal
me.
knife here
My
and
bad.
use it to slice open this moisture seal.
Cool! That looked really good. Like, it was satisfying how it's like...
Also,
The
a
textures
lot
are
of
not
people
bad at
who
all.
only saw the movies, they think
Maybe
that
it's the
Arrakis is completely
compression?
barren.
Oh,
It's
yes,
not really true, because if you read the books, you know that there is actually plant
The textures
life
are actually
in shadowy
good.
areas or in caves. That's also the reason that we find some plant fiber here that we can collect.
Yeah, this is not a
And
single
we can
player
also
game.
use it again.
But I
it's a
do hope
basic
we
item.
can play
craft
this
it
as
from
a
the
single player
inventory
game,
and
'cause I
make
love
some
playing
simple
like-
bandages.
I love playing games
Or a
like
heal
this
kit
by
in
myself.
this case. And we use it to heal ourselves up. And that now enables our stamina bar, which means we can now also start climbing. So we basically ported the climbing system that we have in Conan Exiles into Dune Awakening, but we expanded on it. So we made it more interesting because now you can also combine it, for example, with abilities or with gadgets to give you more opportunities to traverse through the world. Make it more
Cool.
interesting to also like travel around. We're gonna jump a little bit ahead again.
Okay, you
Or we
guys.
crashed a little bit ahead again, so we actually crash landed here. That's actually now in the game, where we teach you an important role immediately. You obviously do not want to stand on the sand for too long, because the sandworm will always come, sooner or later. This is the little one, by the way, or one of the little ones.
That's
So
little?
you will also see here we have a blue bar on the left. That's the
Yes,
water
that's
bar.
Arizona.
Of course, you have to keep an eye on
I've
that.
been
We also
there.
have
It's
a white
exactly
bar in
like
the middle
this.
there. That's your heat meter, basically. So as long as you stand in the sun, or as you stay in the sun, this will fill up. As soon as you go into shadow, it will go down again.
Cool.
What you can do now is you can actually drink from these plants by ingesting them.
Can
and
you
your water
romance
bar
a
will go up
cactus?
a little bit, but it won't go over 1/3 because you can't really ingest too much of those plant fibers because you get sick. And you also saw the bar actually went red, the white bar, the heat bar. That means you get sunstroke, and the water bar will empty way
Oh,
faster
yeah.
than it normally would.
See
So
that?
you should really stay in the shade. And some of you might know that we actually have an alternate timeline here in Dune Awakening.
Hard love,
That
like
means
by
it's not exactly the story
worms?
from the books. In this case, it means that both the Harkonnen and the Atreides are still on the planet, and they still fight for power over the planet and over the spice. This also means that's the reason that you can find those metal scraps, those metal pieces around,
Ah.
and you can use your cutter ray to cut those. You have like those balloon lines.
Well,
It's a
Papa, you
special mode
probably
that the cutter ray
need to
has.
craft it.
It kind of exposes weak parts of the thing that you want to harvest. And if you follow those lines, it's more efficient for you to harvest. It's faster, you get more material, and sometimes even more rare materials. Those patterns get more complex the higher tier node you try to harvest from. And then spice is of course
What's that?
everywhere, and it has very peculiar effects on the player. Like in this case, we see here the spice starts to affect the player. In this case, you might want
That's
to
so
bring yourself
pretty.
to safety. Make sure you're not like exposed to a potential sandstorm. But
You kind of
that's for a
romance the
later
worm,
point in time, what
but
here
it kind
will
of
happen.
romances you.
Yeah, now we're talking about NPC bases. So now you see a character further developed, a trooper Harkonnen player. He's scouting out an NPC area or like his NPC camp. There are lots of these camps throughout the world. And he's using his binoculars to like mark enemies and eventually points of interest.
He
And
levitate.
he's using like the suspensor belt, one of the items that you can have, and the Shigawaya claw, like some sort of like
He didn't say we.
Combination with
Like-
the Shigawire clone suspension.
yeah, exactly. So in order to get quicker from A to B and climb up faster and approach the village in a certain way. Grappling hook, basically, similar to a grappling hook. Now he's building a motor pistol. This is like feather based, and we're basically using different ammunition than in real life. So these are a little bit more slower, so they can actually penetrate shields, like in the lore.
Bah, bah, bah. It's from a different game.
And different hit points or like hit areas are important, like shooting at the head or the legs or whatever area. Of course, he's aiming always for the head to kill the enemies faster. Keep in mind, like for the purpose of this presentation, we have chosen a little bit of a slower gameplay so we can actually comment on this. We support controller, mouse and keyboard, but of course an experienced player can go through this like very, very fast.
Okay, those of you talking about the frames,
And there's a combination of both.
again,
And you can
It's a beta.
really,
It's a demo.
traverse throughout the battlefield really quickly.
until now and release, that's the kind of stuff they're gonna work on. So calm down memories. No! Every game you see is not Fortnite just because it has a gun. And you can build stuff. Oh, he shot the peep. The
And
peep.
all these abilities together give like a very nice dynamic in the battlefield. And the very well-known hand grenade to finish up. And enemies, of course, also have different archetypes, and this type is ones like melee, and they will put some pressure on you and approach you to get, to put you a little bit of stress on you.
Every desert
So
you
we're
see is
jumping
not
ahead now a little
Dune,
bit to
sure.
a different
But
character.
this looks like
is a
Arizona.
Swordmaster specialization. So obviously he's a melee character, and he is wearing a sword and doing heavy damage close combat. And he has a knee charge ability, which he can jump like towards the enemy and
I prefer
put his
that.
knee into his face, basically. And obviously he's a little bit in disadvantage against ranged enemies, so he has certain abilities to compensate that. Now both characters are together, and for the main player we chose basically now a different type, and he's using his mentat ability.
Battlefield calculation.
And yeah, with this you can basically scan everything or every enemy or even like your group members and see what type of ammunition they have, like what type of weapon they use, granite type, and so on and so forth. All the symbols that you see basically around the character. And you can of course communicate that to the other player and tell them what's basically approaching you.
Boom.
And he also has the ability to see through walls and scout out new enemies that are maybe behind, and tell that to his group friend to warn him, basically. And you saw like the DBNO state for the enemy, basically similar to the player's mechanic, where you can shoot at an enemy, but he's not completely dead already, so potentially a different NPC can come and revive him, and the same goes for players, of course.
Okay, that's good if you have friends.
Yeah, exsanguination, the blood extraction. After a big fight, of course, there are lots of corpses laying around, and they're not only there for looting. So you can, of course, also like extract blood from them. So because fluid and hydration is very important in our game, there's also a way to get fluid or water out of blood. And in the way we're doing this here, he's building a blood extractor, which is a handy little tool. There are further down the game, there are different tools to do this too. And he basically approaches a corpse, sees the little symbol for blood extraction, that he's able to do that, and then he extracts the blood. And obviously, because blood is a fluid, you can drink it in our game, but we're of course not vampires.
Of
You can do
course.
this to survive in
Oh.
a long period. And
Unlike
you get, like, a little
vampires.
debuff that you see blood drinker that brings you this disadvantage in a certain way.
So now a little bit about player bases.
Are there
If you
fluids
have a
ignored?
totem
Apparently.
system in Dune Awakening, that means you can actually place down something called the sub-thief console, which then gives you a land claim, basically an area that you can build in. You do, however, pay a little bit of tax to the Emperor for
What?
placing one down. You can have several of those if you want to. You also see that you see a holographic image of what
I
you
actually
want
love
to place
this.
down. So you can plan it,
seems
out
so
a little bit and then you
smooth.
fill it with material.
Oh, they messed up the floor.
However, we also expanded on this system. So let's say you just place down the hologram and you run out of material, so a friend actually can come in and fill it for you if they have material. Or you can
Aw.
also use this, of course, to have a friend just plan your building. Just put down all the holograms and then someone else fills it in. So you can have an architect in your guild, basically.
Cool.
We also know that some
Cool.
players don't like to build or to design the buildings. They just kind of like.
I love
have
designing
one
the
or
buildings.
place
I
one
can
for one
design your
player.
houses.
So that's where this comes into play. You can actually have a whole blueprint of your finished buildings. You can copy it, and then you get a copy in your inventory that you then.
You love when your
place
friends
out
help you
again
fill your
wherever
hole.
you'd like.
Wait, what?
So if you want to move on, let's say to the next biome or into the deep desert, for example, we talk about that a bit later, you can just place out the building that you designed earlier
Don't judge.
and reconstruct it, just fill it with material. The cool thing about this system is you can also sell this blueprint to other players if you want to on the in-game
That's
exchange
cool.
for Solaris, for the in-game coins. So you can actually be an architect in the game if you'd like to.
Cool. I love that. I love building stuff. I love making houses. Oh, that's so cool!
So yeah, so once you have developed your little base a little bit further,
Yeah, we'll play
you can see
Kingdom
a little bit of
Come
an example
after
of
this.
what it could look like inside, and you see a lot of machinery on the side, basically for different purposes. And one of these machines is the blood purifier. So like I explained, before, basically you can extract the blood from enemies and then convert this blood in this machine to water. And it's pretty simple. It runs automatically, so just
If
fill
you
up
play as a
the
female
machine
character,
with
can you
blood,
extract your
and
monthly blood
it does it on
too?
the side, so you can still like run around, do something else, and then later on pick up the converted water.
I feel like it's a fair question.
And
But that's also the
very
reason why they
important section
don't have
for
me interviewing the
actually
devs.
is like how to build a vehicle. So this
I
is
mean,
one of the
no,
first
it's
vehicles that the
fluid. We're in
players
the
get access to.
desert.
This is the sand bike. And there are different ways of getting your hands on a bike, but in this specific case,
I
we're
mean,
showing
it's
it before.
unfair. It's unfair that I get to
like
bleed
schematic.
every month and you
You see all the
don't.
parts on the left side that are part of this bike, and you need all these in order to assemble a whole bike. And on the right side, you see basically the waiting line, where you can get several modules built at the same time.
Cool.
And they're just basically work through. You don't have to stick all the time in that menu. You can also exit it and do something else and wait until the machine is done.
Cool.
It's almost like a 3D printer, you could imagine. And that's what he's doing now, and you can see even like once you exit the menu, you can see a preview and hologram of the actual item that the machine is currently building. And now he enters again and then basically just takes out everything that was built.
Cool.
Now to the assembly itself, for every vehicle, the main part is the chassis. Then we add a battery, a motor, of course, or an engine.
Here. I'll start.
Then
Thank
the
you.
treads. In this case, treads. We also have different types of like wheels or treads or whatever. Then, of course, an outer hull to make it pretty. And because this system is modular, we can basically also add different types of modules later on to the bike. So we can completely enhance the functionality by adding, like, let's say, enhanced inventory module or like a boost module to drive even faster. In this case, the player chose a passenger seat, so he can take somebody with him.
Cool! If you have
Now
a
to the world
friend.
events, these are dynamically driven throughout the world. There are different types of dynamic events. And in this case, this is a spaceship that is basically crashing from the space. And both players, and now you can see how his buddy is sitting in the passenger seat, they're both driving to the crash site to see what they can get there.
I wonder if you can hire NPCs to be your friends. And help you
There
around
are
the
different
base.
parts laying around there. It's not only always the case like this. So, but you can also approach the wrecked ship itself and basically use your cutter ray and cut holes into the ship and basically get certain types of resources. In this case, they also find a loot box, so they were lucky and have also some enhanced materials.
Loot
And the other
box?
guy is basically really
It's
using
not that
his
kind of
cutter ray
loot
again
box.
and cutting through the bigger parts. One of the threats, of course, at night too is basically our, I call it in-game
The game
police.
looks good.
These are the Sadoka. They're bluish because they have a shield. They patrol throughout the night everywhere and basically seek out for like bad players or mischief players, let's say. And this guy is basically currently
Players like
harvesting
me.
some water from the plants, and he didn't see them. So they found him, spotted on him, and basically dropping units to engage with him. And they basically attacking the players now.
Oh my gosh, engagement parties are a lot different in Dune.
And now more about the sandworm. So we see our two friends here that are driving on the open sand, which we earlier said is a bad idea. But also just to see that red bar in the middle, that's your noise meter basically. So that's how much noise you make. The bike currently makes a lot of noise. And even though we say you shouldn't go out into the open sand, of course there are reasons why you would want to. In this case, it's the flower sand. So our two players here, they try to harvest some flower sand, which you can refine into quite important material to then craft specific items. You can harvest flower sand by hand, as we see there, which would be completely quiet, or you can use
I love
a
that the
sand
marks on the
compactor that you see
sand.
here, which is, it makes it of course way faster, way more efficient. You get more material as well, but it's also incredibly loud. So. And that's what happens. We now have a very pissed off worm on our hands, and the only thing they can do now is basically jump on the bike and try to make it to safety as soon as possible. So if they can make it to a rocky island, to rocky ground before it gets them, that's kind of the only option they have right now.
Yum 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 yum.
And because those two guys have more luck than brains. They actually just made it. It was very close though.
Is that the mouth or the other end of the worm?
Now our player hubs.
The answer is yes!
Once you have progressed far enough, you might be able to construct your own ornithopter, we see here.
Thank
Then
you.
the world of course opens up. You can fly, you get a lot of verticality then. And
Cool.
to leave this map here that we are in, Haga Basin, you actually fly to the edge and then you get into the overland map that we see here. You see your little ornithopter in the middle, you drive it on this map, you have water and gas that you need to take care of, that you have to have enough of to actually travel around. And you also see all the other little points here, those are all other players that are also traveling on the map. Also, there can be hundreds of players that are also traveling. And we are gonna
That's so
visit
cool.
Harco Village here, which is a player hub. Harco Village is controlled by the Harkonnen. And this is where you can meet up with many other players. You can, from other servers too. You can group up, you can create the guild.
You can meet from
talk to
players with
NPCs,
other players?
You can drive the
Like
story
other servers?
forward. You can learn new abilities from your trainers.
Oh, it's a will!
Back.
You can pick up contracts as well. We also have dynamic events here, so they change kind of depending on what time of the day it is.
I
that
kind of
you're in.
like
They
that the
do
players are
those
concentrated
areas.
like in
You
one
can,
place, so I
you
can
also
avoid
back
these
in
places.
Solaris, can do them, visit the in-game exchange to trade or sell from other players. And then last but not least, you can also pledge your allegiance to one of the factions. In this case, it would be the Harkonnen. If you want to do that, you don't have to, but you can. It does have, of course, precautions.
Yeah, now to our testing stations, or also ecolabs. So these are, you can imagine, basically from other games like dungeons, where the
Alright,
players
we can discuss that
go
soon.
into explore and find some interesting items, loot, whatever. And these three like approach the whole thing with their ornithopters, and now they're basically trying to customize their builds a little bit more to have a proper gameplay then together. And this is one of our many skill trees that we have, and they are choosing basically the correct abilities now in order to like engage into the testing area. So there are 3 main abilities that you can use and 3 passive ones that you can see here. You can slot them in at any time and change them up at any time, and that's what they're doing now. And now they're jumping with their suspensor belts into the testing station. And important for us is that it's not only a linear corridor where you just have to fight through. All these testing stations have a little bit of a story, they have a little bit of combat, and they also have a little bit of exploration. So there are almost like labyrinths where you have to really like work together. You can also visit these.
Can you do this
as a solo
alone?
player, of course. They're quite challenging, and at the end you don't know, and we can't reveal right now what
Flame
you
jar!
may find. But of course also some nice loot,
Nice!
and yeah. And there's different abilities and weapons that you can see are combined. Here's a shield wall that the player plays, and you can actually shoot with the flamethrower through it. And now you can see actually like how much more vivid the whole combat is, and how much faster the whole thing is. And it can become even more. And the blue NPCs that you see, they have a shield, so you have to select the right type of weapon in order to surpass that. And of course, like in any kind of nice dungeon, you want some proper loot, and that's what they find here. And yeah.
And now a little bit of a taste of the spice hunt in the deep desert. That's in the deep desert. That's one of the huge spice blows that you can see. Those can be seen from miles away. This is basically where you then fight over spice, which is of course the most valuable resource in the game for several reasons. So we see here a guild, or 2 guilds basically fighting each other over the spice. And if you're smart, and if you're
I'm not.
very good at planning, and you have a proper strategy and tactic, you might even be
Maybe.
able to turn Arrakis itself into a weapon against your enemy.
Cool.
And those are the big ones. So that was our gameplay presentation. We do have a few minutes for questions. If someone has some questions, we can address
I
those.
do hope you're able to also play by yourself, because I love playing this game, you know, being a lone wonder, games like this, you know. So I hope that
Oh, there we go. We're back.
the multiplayer is not...
Okay, so they're doing their own Q&A over there, but we actually have
No, it's on
a
PC.
dev coming to sit with us.
You can wishlist it
and then you
on
can ask
Steam.
questions via my silly face directly into a dev's ears. Straight in the ear holes. Legend. Yo. I believe this is yours, my lord. Hello.
Hey, Chris.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Awesome.
straight up.
But Dr. Yue hasn't disconnected our communication. We're good.
We're good for now. Yeah. He might get us later.
Yeah, I think he will. So it
Pleasure.
seems
I have
like
played all of them by
there's a lot
myself.
of shy haloods going on in chat.
Yes.
People kind of vibe in, especially the end one. That's a bit. That's
The big one.
the chungus. That one is. I think they call it. But I think a lot of people have got like random questions in chat, so maybe we address some of those.
100%. Let's go.
A lot of them seem to be based, as you might expect, around like comparisons to Conan Exiles, like how many people per server, that kind of thing. So we'll go with the how many people per server or instance or region, and then I'll read chat.
Oh,
and find
probably,
more,
Chris.
questions.
Sure. So
I really like
the,
games like
The
this.
starting region, the Haga Basin.
Yeah.
It's like minimum 40, depending on server optimization. Hopefully more by the time we launch the game.
Minimum 40
the
people.
Deep Desert itself is like this connected series of servers. We're aiming for trying to get 100 people per each of the server instances, and it's 9 server instances. So there could be 900 people roaming in that map space, but only 100 in the particular square
Right.
at a time. So that's
I
kind of the
see.
goal, and then we'll see. Based on server optimization, that's kind of our current like numbers, and then as beta continues and we get more people in and we find ways to improve our optimizations, yeah, should be more. Hopefully.
Okay. And the Deep Desert, that's like a huge region, and one thing people tend to dislike is once you've kind of explored the map, it gets a bit stale because it's like, okay, every server reset, I'm going to go to the mine, I'm going to go to wherever. I understand you've got something different for the Deep Desert.
Yeah, the plan here, I mean, it's an idea that's like kind of untested and we hope works out well. I mean, it's tested in the game, but it's untested
I do
at
need to
scale.
set up my own server,
but,
but like
the
as
idea
long
is
as
that the Deep Desert
I'm
resets
able to do the
every
game
week
solo, I'm
with this
happy
giant
with it.
Coriolis storm that comes through, wipes out the landscape, and then there's a new layout, and the fog of war comes back. And so you need to go out there, like I kind of call this phase of play like the Coriolis race. and the idea is that like the big guilds will have their scouts, and their scouts go out and start mapping the new layout of the Deep Desert, and then they come back with that information. And if you're a solo player, you might be out there in your vast ornithopter mapping and then selling it on the exchange to other people. Just
Oh,
trying to
so you
build
can!
exploration in as a part of the game loop, and then logistics. Right now we've mapped it. We know that where the good spots are. We're going to go build bases, and then we're going to go out there. We're going to fight over the spice blows that happen, and then at the end of the week, we know it's going to reset again. So yeah, it's kind of trying to build this dynamic game loop for people. A little bit, I guess, like Rust does it with their servers resetting every so often, but we're trying to do it in a world where things are persistent. So
Oh,
and
so
does the
main things
Coriolis storm
persist.
reset all the buildings that have been crafted? So you kind of building like
Cool!
temporary
Okay, that's
outposts just
good!
to be able to leverage the area of the Deep Desert you're in, but you know full well you're going to get wiped.
yeah, so I mean, in one of the things that I learned, I think, watching the way people did PvP in Conan was that like they built up these giant sandcastles and then people came and kicked them down, right? And it kind of frustrated them a lot. So the Deep Desert is designed to be this place where like you kind of know that it's like going to Vegas and being like, well, I know if I bring $100, I'm going to lose $100.
So you don't get too attached.
You don't get too attached, and you kind of know what it's worth fighting for stuff out there. But you're like, yeah, when I bring this base, I know it's kind of going to be a cheap base because I know it's going to get wiped. So yeah, the idea is to encourage people to really try this stuff out and not feel like, oh, I'm going to be reset to the Stone Age every time I try something in PvP.
Yeah. And I suppose actually thinking about it, there's the blueprint system, right? So once you've got kind of the ideal outpost, you can actually just blueprint it, and then next time after the Coriolis storm, you can go back in and just use the blueprint rather than painstakingly placing every wall and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of cool because then, like, I think in the video they said, like, some players, maybe if they're not into PvP or maybe they're not good at PvP, there's other things they can do, like resource gathering for their guild, and you can even get architects. So you might get people sat there, like, min-maxing the perfect build for, like, oh, if we find a a spice region, we should deploy that kind of building. And if someone else has got one, we'll build our assault post, and that's got the most windows for shooting. And
Yeah,
there's going to
exactly.
be all that cool meta that people have.
100% the meta around that stuff, right? Especially like the building meta is going to be
Yeah.
interesting. I think that's I'm excited to see it, right? But that's what I mean about testing at scale. We need more people in the betas and stuff to just sort of really see how this is going to play out and then adjust towards it.
Yep.
Cool.
Someone asks, I think this one's an easy question. What happens if Shai Hulud gets you?
Well, you basically die and you lose all your stuff because it swallowed it.
Yeah.
It's the only time in the game where you lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the
Oh.
sandworm. I couldn't.
Which
in
makes
good conscience,
sense.
As a creative director on a Dune project, make the sandworm anything less than the most frightening thing in the game.
Mhm.
So it is the one.
So you
time
lose all your stuff.
Absolutely everything.
Because he
Yep.
eats it.
I can account to that because I was
What if
playing
you
this
wait until it
yesterday
poops
for like
and poops
3 or
your
4
stuff
hours.
out?
And I died to like fights here and there and dehydration and stuff. But you can respawn, you can put spawn beacons, that kind of thing, spawn in your base. But then at one time I was messing around on my my sand bike, and Shai Hulud ate me, and I was sent back to the Stone Age. I had to make my shiv again, I had to make my cutter again, I had to make my armor again. So it actually kind of felt cool being able to like really be knocked back like that. And then obviously once you've got a more established base, you'll have your backup kits and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a super cool feature. It's interesting to see actually in the trailer we just saw, the reveal, how you can actually place thumpers and use them strategically. Like if you're losing a fight, you might disengage and place a thumper, and if the enemy aren't paying attention, they might rush into it and get wiped out. Or maybe if you attack someone, like if you attack someone that's trying to maybe harvest spice, you could maybe set a thumper off behind them and then attack them so they can't retreat. Like it feels like there's going to be some really interesting ways to use the landscape and the environment against people.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, like talked a little bit earlier about solo players and PvP and the Zerg, right? And people coming in. You know, as a solo player, it's like,
I'm a
well,
fan
there's
of
a
big
Zerg coming,
worms.
but I'm going to plant a thumper because it's going to cost them a lot more than it's going to cost me. That kind of thing. You can find ways to use the mechanics to your advantage. And the other side of it is just when you're harvesting spice, you want to have like a group of people who are out placing thumpers to keep the sandworm away from where you're harvesting spice, right? So there's a bit of a thought process in that as well. Like just even if there's no one else around, even if it's not PvP, it's just PvE and we're harvesting, it's like keep the sandworm busy with thumpers. So
Yeah, like distracting them. So are they like on the server side? Are they like tracked as an NPC that goes around, or is it just like if you walk in a certain area they spawn and then boom?
No, they're AIs. They're AIs. They live in the world, and they follow you around. They can teleport because we've noticed that some players can find ways to exploit them. And so they do have the ability. Like if someone really exploits the sandworm, they can teleport to the right location to do what they need to do.
Oh, I
But
see.
yeah, they're AIs for the most part. They live in territories. They roam around. They don't cross out of these territories entirely because sandworms are territorial on Dune. So we tried to replicate kind of what the book.
We'll be
description
playing Kingdom
Actually,
Come
it's
soon.
interesting you say that. Now you said
We'll
it,
talk
it
about
reminded me.
Kingdom Come
When I
very
built my
soon.
base yesterday,
Soon
it
as
was all
this
just
is done.
walls and a door, and I replaced one of the walls with a window. And as I replaced it, I just saw like the rolling dunes ahead of me, and just a 100-foot pile of smoke just steamed past me. I was like, I'm gonna put the wall back. Forget it. I don't want windows here.
Yes.
Okay, people are asking a lot about guild information, like what is a guild, what's the benefit, how many people can be in a guild, do you have like authority levels within it, so certain people can do certain things?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what you'd expect from a guild in terms of permission systems, so you can set levels of permission, which includes ownership on bases, so people being able to like, you know, you can access these chests, you can't access these chests, you're not high enough within the guild. Then the final number for the guild isn't set, but it will depend on the server size. So like if we have, you know, so it'll probably be, I'd say in the tens, it won't be in the hundreds, we definitely won't be allowing that. Probably kind of based on at least the old rule of thumb from MMOs, which is back in the day, the old wisdom of it was like whatever your raid size is, your guild size should be double that.
Right.
So that people can, you know, participate in the activity and make sure they have a fair chance.
Yeah, it's
So
a
what
survival
it'll end
MMO,
up
kind
being
of
will be
like
some
Once
level of,
Human.
like, you know, I think it'll be, you know, probably 50-ish, maybe lower.
Okay.
Right? It won't be super high. We won't be.
But I
allowing
love
these
playing
100s and
survival
100s
games by
people per
myself,
guild.
so I hope
Yeah.
that's possible too.
I think from personal experience, when you get to the hundreds, it makes it almost impossible to balance gameplay and to make things make sense.
Yes.
So I feel like a lot of people gravitate towards a more skillful expression of like smaller scale PvP. If you've got 100 dudes versus 100 dudes in a desert,
It's chaos.
it's just going to be madness.
It's chaos.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. I think, the only winner there is going to be Shai Hulud.
Yeah, and guild activities, I didn't mention it, but like the harvesting we've been showing, those are kind of guild events, right? Like you want to go out and harvest with a group. You can do it solo. It's just less efficient, right? And then like we'll
I
have,
mean,
yeah, like you can go and run.
that's a
sort of some
given,
of
right?
these
You
sort
have
of
less
harder
people.
ecology labs as well with a small group, things like that. But yeah, I think also the Landsrad, the political system, we haven't talked too much about, but like that's an option as well.
You explained it to me yesterday, and as a streamer, I was like, that's going to be really interesting seeing the streamers leveraging their communities within the world to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much you can speak about that, but it's very cool.
I mean, we should. I mean, I don't know how well it'll come across when I just explain in words. I think we need visual aids, and probably like at some point we should.
I could get you guys
do a
to
stream
work
and
for
show
me.
it in action and how it's going to work. But essentially it's just, you want to win the votes of the different houses in the world. And they will vote for the thing that you're looking to have happen. And when that thing happens, it changes the vote for everybody in a way. So, yeah.
So like you could say, I'm going to pledge myself to this faction, and they will say, if I build 10 ornithopters or something,
I still do though.
all the people that pledge to them will get a bonus for X amount of time.
Yeah.
So then everybody will be like out there looking at the different bonuses available and trying to rush the ones that are really good and kind of vying off each other.
Yeah, and the Harkonnen or the Atreides will be like, we want to win this part of the Landsrad, so we need that vote. That house will say, well, in order for us to have this vote, we need you to deliver, I don't know, 1,000, spice-infused weapons. And then it's like, okay, we got to do this as a mass crafting event. If you think about World of Warcraft, they had some really good world events which they used to unlock content. It's a little bit like that. It's kind of thinking about some of these ideas.
Okay. My good friend Shroud asks, how are you approaching group size to make sure everybody has a place in the game from solo to large groups? So we kind of touched on it, like solo players can go out into the deep desert and find things ahead of other people and sell that information. So there might be a big guild that has lots of scouts, but if you're the lucky person that finds that special thing, you can go to that big guild and say, hey, give me enough money to buy 10 ornithopters and I'll tell you where this thing is. So that's kind of cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's scanning, and I think like in terms of group size, yeah. So the base group size in the game is 4. It's like a firing.
So like
squad.
a party you might bump into typically will be 4.
Yeah, 4 solo, 4, and then I think then we talk about guild sizes, right? So and 4 groups of 4 is generally what we like again sort of MMO math from back in the day. It's like you always take your group size times it by 4 to get kind of your raid size. So 4 groups of 4 would be 16. 16 is kind of what we target for like harvesting. That's what we would think would be the activity size for these type of things.
Right.
So
Can
yeah,
you kill the
and
worms?
then, how are we balancing it? Well, I think like in general, most of the overworld content is solo, like it's solo, right? But you'll struggle to do it efficiently in some cases if you're alone. So there's just kind of you can do it.
So you need to get good.
And some of that is protracted battles and thinking about how to draw enemies out and getting through. You saw some of the bases, I assume, right? Some of the higher tier stuff is quite difficult, especially when shields start coming into play and you have to get into range and get into melee range and things like that. So
I do like in the PvP there's this interesting rock paper scissors style to it, because you've got melee versus like
Rabbit, but they
weapons,
already
then
showed the gameplay.
you've got
You're
shield
late.
to help prevent the damage from the melee. You've also got Bene Gesserit abilities, because we saw a skill tree that had Bene Gesserit, so we can presume there's some kind of like voice attacks you can do and things. So I think there's going to be a lot of cool rock paper scissors stuff where when you're being attacked you go, okay, they got, oh, that guy looks like a Bene Gesserit because he did that ability, and
Damn,
that
you
guy's the
guys
gun guy,
won.
so we need to snare him. And there's going to be this kind of, it's almost a little bit like a battle arena, because it's not just shooting. You've actually got all these different abilities on different cooldowns, different skill trees that interact with the skills you've got in different ways. So there's lots of different builds.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean it's supposed to be combined arms, right? This kind of sandboxy combat where you can find ways to do things that maybe other people haven't just by combining things in the right way. So yeah, it's hopefully it works out. I mean that's the
I'm good
goal.
at that.
I've seen this question about 18 times now, and I'm finally going to ask it. Are there Bene Gesserit outfits like robes and dresses? But what I think they mean is, can I wear a mosquito net on my head?
There is.
Can I wear a
formal
sexy
outfits,
bikini in the
social outfits that are
desert?
Bene Gesserit style, yes.
Oh, okay.
Translation.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and we saw one of the social hubs earlier, so it actually might be cool to put on your kind of formal clothing and be like, I'm going to my guild meeting, or I'm going to go, walk the towns and stuff.
Yep. It'll
Okay,
be safe
so
in those
in the
areas too,
towns.
so.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. A lot of people asked during the character creation about, like, can you make a Harkonnen or can you make an Atreides? But as I understand it, all the characters are kind of like generic people, and then throughout their time in the world, they can pledge themselves to different things. But you can't be like, I'm part of the Harkonnen family, or I'm part of the Atreides family. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Like when you start the game, you're basically independent. You're a nobody. You're a nameless prisoner. And then as you play the game, you meet the factions, and then you decide who you want to join. We didn't want to do the faction choice at character creation you see in other MMOs, just because I think it's more interesting to actually, if you don't know Dune, getting to know who the factions are and then deciding your flavor of faction is kind of more interesting.
That's a good point, actually. Instead of just being like choose A, B, and C the first step, you can actually talk to them for however many hours going through the quest lines and go, I prefer these guys, and you've kind of earned that loyalty. They've earned it, rather than like arbitrarily picking it, and then you get 60 hours in and you go, I hate these people.
Can you not swap?
There's actually one of the opening sort of.
Can you not
separate quests.
betray?
You can do both sides. You can play both sides against each other in the beginning, right? And then at some point you have to commit, but you can sort of play around with it a little bit.
Right.
I hate commitment.
Everybody's asking, when will there be a beta? Give me a beta. I want a beta now. Beta.
Yeah, I mean, we're running a persistent beta right now. It's limited in shape and form. We're going to increase the amount. We just did an update a couple of weeks ago. I think I mentioned this, where we revamped the melee combat. And we've been waiting for that to come in because I didn't want to go wide with kind of not the world's best melee combat earlier. Now we have much better melee combat. I'm not saying it's world best. But now it's much better, so we'll start to roll out to wider and wider groups of people, and
That's good.
testing all this endgame stuff is going to require thousands of people, so you can expect the beta to ramp up quite significantly. I can't
That's
give it
really
to you
good.
individually. You have to sign up on DuneAwakening.com.
Sign up!
They don't even let me, the creative director, have any. They don't.
I
let
will
me
sign
decide
up
anybody
too,
who's in the
because
beta.
I really
I
like
can vouch
survival
for that.
games.
Because they didn't make me wear this still suit. I bought this, and I'm sat here in 200-degree heat, dying of dehydration, and I don't have access. That's why I was here for like 3 hours yesterday. They put me in a room and said you can play for 30 minutes here on the test bed, and then like 3 hours they came back like, is Sacriel still here? I'm like, yeah. And I'm still like trying to craft stuff. So yeah, I was getting my fill while I'm here, and I'm not in the beta yet. So yeah, you are very truthful when you say you're not just handing it out like candy.
Yeah. No, they don't let me make any decisions around that. So they just don't trust me. What can I say?
Co had a question. Was the gameplay earlier the final gameplay, or are you guys fine-tuning the animations, etc.? What's the current state of the stuff being shown?
And then
So
you
this
guys
is
are
from
just
the-
recycle
I think
my
it's a
sweat.
17.4 beta, which
Mm.
is that's just a release number, so it means nothing to anybody.
That means nothing to
but
any.
but it's like it's the beta from about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I think that where we've shown. I mean, some of the footage was captured earlier. It's some of the shots are from earlier.
Previous
What
bit.
people are playing on the floor here is the 17.34 beta, one of those. I mean, so yeah, it's like we're still a while away from release, right? So
Yep.
there's a lot of polish and stuff to happen. Animations are still being worked on. Yeah, it's just we're in the polish and love.
Some
phase
people
at
were
the moment.
mentioning the animations, but
the
again,
nice phase, but
this is
also,
like
yeah, everybody who points out a major problem to me,
Early.
God, do we
early
do we
game.
have time to fix it? Do we have time to pivot and fix this
Yeah.
stuff? So it's it's that phase of development.
Oh, I will say, after watching the reveal myself, it was
What's in
very
my
evident
hand?
that the players were playing at a slower pace, so the commentators had time to explain, oh, this is this and this is that. When I was playing it yesterday, it was very fluid. Like when you can be shooting someone and then you'll be attacked by a melee character from the side, and you can literally turn around and parry them, and it knocks them back.
Yeah.
You
Cool.
can throw an anti-gravity grenade and jump through it and slide through the air, and it's
That's a tadpole.
really fluid. From what I played.
Yeah, no, I was complaining as well. Like, I think the demonstration, some of the melee combat, for example, the parries and things like that weren't there. So you just didn't see it. I think there's a riposte in the presentation.
Yeah.
And that's a Swordmaster ability, which is kind of like an
You
uber
really
parry because you get to do
stab.
damage off the back of the parry.
Yeah.
But
There's
the
a deflection as well, I think, for the
Yeah.
Swordmaster, so you
Yeah.
can deflect bullets for a short
Yeah,
time. So
deflect darts,
if
yeah.
your shield's down, you can start deflecting.
Yep.
So there's lots of snappy interactive aspects that weren't demonstrated there. So from my perspective, from what I played yesterday, that stuff's super exciting. And it's going to be cool. There's so many different trees. There's what is it, Mentat?
Planetologist, Mentat, Bene Gesserit, Trooper, and Swordmaster, right?
Right.
Cool.
Exactly.
And
You
then-
can kind of build into each tree. Once you're high level, you can start to delve into different trees, right? So you can have a blended build.
Yeah, you have 3 ability slots and 3 technique slots, and you can sort of blend between any of those trees once you've learned. You've got to find the trainers in the world, apart from the initial one you pick. But yeah, once you've learned, you can start blending things from all the trees together.
All right. Someone asks, actually, that's an interesting.
How many
one I never
teeth
thought
does
about.
a worm
Is there a
have?
healer?
Please don't
kind of
flirt with me. That's
ability or
fucking
class,
weird.
or
Go
is it
outside,
you
touch
craft
grass.
heal things and run up and heal your teammates? So can people be supportive, or is it mostly aggressive attacks?
I'd have to go back and check the trees. We had a healer seeker, which was like a version of the hunter seeker, but you would fire a dart that would like numb people and heal them.
Oh.
I can't remember if that's still in or got removed, so I apologize. The idea would be that one day we would add the Sook Doctor as an archetype to the game. We don't have right now.
Oh,
and then the Sook Doctor archetype would have like more of a healer type archetype in it.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, so the plan is to get there. Like it is going to be an online game, right? Staying alive for a while.
Mhm.
We're going to keep adding to it. So
Right, yeah.
I would like to add the healing archetype. It's not one of the core archetypes right now.
Right.
There are some healing abilities, I think, but not that one.
Someone asked a cool question a moment ago, actually. They said, can I see a highliner? And I think in the build I played, you can. And this blew my mind. I looked up at the sky and I was kind of looking at things, and I noticed like some little glimmery things, but it was daytime. And I was thinking, oh, I'm not sure what that is. And then one of the devs turned up the like simulation, so that it went from like day to night to day to night. And it was actually the highliner in orbit, but during the day, if you've ever seen the moon during the day, it's really faded, you can't really see it, and then at night it's like vivid, and it was a highliner. So when the sun went down and it became all auburn skied and everything went black in the sky, the massive highliner was there, and I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, all lit up. Yeah, it looks cool.
It looked really, really good.
And spoiler alert, at the start of the game, you come out of that highliner.
Exclusive.
Cool.
That's where we start off. Oh, is that where the Reverend Mother is up there? Or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I do like the world feels alive. Like, so we've seen multiple really. So we've got the highliner. Then there's some other ship I saw floating around. I wasn't sure if it was a Sardaukar one or like a Caladan ship, but it's like a massive ship, and it had like a fleet of fighters like escorting it. And then you've got the Sardaukar like search ships going around scanning and dropping soldiers. So and you've got the worm going around. It really did feel like the world was alive. You got all the Maldives bouncing around and stuff, which I did actually hit with a knife and felt really bad.
Then you can take their water.
I did take its water. Yeah, exactly. It served its purpose, I guess.
Yeah, there was a lot of people angry with me that you can kill the Maldives, but you know.
Someone asked, will there be proximity in chat?
Yes, there's proximity chat.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
With all the appropriate filters and so forth. But yes, you can.
Cool.
I think you just. I can't remember which button it is. I think it's V right now.
I'll have to go into
Hold
options
down
and
V
mute
you can
that.
Talk to anyone within a certain radius.
Right.
Yep.
Actually, that reminds me, you can maybe speak to the radio system.
I really love
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
games like this.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a system in the game called CommuniNet, and the CommuniNet system, you go in, like when you're in certain areas, you can choose radio channels.
but like,
A little GTA Fallout 3 inspired.
You know,
actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
And you
very
can listen,
antisocial.
Like, to the Spice Harvester radio, or the Atreides propaganda channel, or the Harkonnen propaganda channel, and you kind of get radio shows and information.
I'm
about
social
events
with
that have
you
happened in
guys.
the world, and a little
Yeah.
bit of the old
But in
history that we've been
games-
building. So yeah, it's kind of fun, like building all that content and seeing how it works out.
Will it reflect like in-game things?
Yeah.
Would it be like a ship has crashed over here? If not, like
The plan is to sort of reflect big
events?
large, and especially because we're going to be live,
Yeah,
right? As a
it was
multiplayer game,
okay.
The
Yeah.
idea is like, oh, this happened. You know, the players did this, or this happened in the story, and then the next time we release an update, there'll be a little news snippet about that, right?
Sacriel has died 100 times this week, like little newscasts. Brilliant.
Yes, that would be fun.
Is there any vehicle combat, or is vehicles just for transportation?
No, vehicles have like weapons, so I think you saw actually maybe
Cool.
in the
There's a
presentation.
tank.
Tank comes over. You can attach like rocket turrets to buggies. Ornithopters, you can attach like a las gun and a rocket turret. So there's also aerial combat. We actually had a really cool event. Salute to
Cool.
the beta players, anyone who's watching. They crafted a bunch of ornithopters and went into the deep desert and had this sort of ornithopter aerial battle.
dogfight.
Yeah. And,
Oh,
and,
that's
and they were
cool.
just testing and stressing the servers a bit and
Mhm.
so I don't know. Anyone who's in the beta will understand this reference, but I have to say a woo to you all. A woo to you all. So,
Oh, yeah, that's an in joke.
yeah, it's become a meme. I don't know why.
Is that like the Marines have hooah?
Yeah,
Is
it-
a woo like a?
I can tell the story.
beta thing.
It's just a really bad like text to speech placeholder voice that we had on a
okay.
lore pickup,
Mhm.
and it is exactly what you said. Like it's supposed to be like a SEALs thing, and they're like, "Who's the best fighters?"
they're
A woo.
definitely talking.
And it's, just, it's completely flat.
I love
So
that.
It's become a meme now, so it's cool.
Awesome. What's the biggest planned playable vehicle?
So far, it's the transport ornithopter.
Ooh.
It's pretty big. And it
Um,
can carry other vehicles, pick up any other vehicle in the game, I think.
cool.
Oh, so you could maybe pick up a tank and then like, oh, they're harvesting some spice and drop the tank off, then deploy the troops.
That's
Yep.
cool.
Fly around for recon.
Yep, that's how you get like out on the sand without bringing the sandworm immediately. You carry your sand crawlers out under
Oh.
the transport ornithopter.
Ah,
and then
that makes
drop them
sense.
off, right?
There's
And
less
then- and then the
less
transport
noise.
ornithopter has to kind of hover around to pick up so that you don't lose things to the worm. So yeah.
That's cool actually, because it feels like it might, as a gameplay experience, match that immersion of the movie or the books as well, where like the harvester sees the cloud in the distance and they have to radio in.
Yep.
So it'd be kind of cool if you're just sat there. Maybe you're the dude in the guild that's like, I've only got half an hour. I'm going to go out and farm some spice or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, there are binoculars in the game, right? So he gets out binoculars. Oh god! And he actually has to get on Discord or on the in-game voice radio or whatever, and be like, I need an ornithopter to pick up right now,
Yeah,
sector D3, and then someone has to rush across the base, jump in the. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea, right? Like replicating that experience, especially from the book. There's a really good scene. Yeah,
No,
where, like,
I
the
don't think
Duke
it is,
comes and
because they're
the
picking
ornithopter doesn't show up.
Questions
And
from
how much,
Twitch
exactly.
how
chat.
much of a problem that causes, right? So yeah, it's also a vulnerability point, right? Like if you're, if you only got the transport ornithopter in the air, protect it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can't pick up your spice harvesters.
Exactly, because some sneaky solo player might start shooting you with a lasgun or rocket launcher or whatever it is she uses it, like Johnny uses, and just take it out, and then you might have to build another one.
Yeah,
And by that point,
That would be more effort, dude.
Will there be events such as hijacking spice harvesters? So we saw some events, right, with the ship crashing, and then you get those, is it spice blooms? Blows?
Blow, yeah.
Yeah, spice blows. So you got these kind of big, I like that you can see them from miles away, so it's kind of a pivotal, everyone in the region will kind of be gravitated towards it.
Exactly.
Are there any events like that that involve vehicles, like that haven't crashed?
Not really, right? You do run across like
Player stuff.
you run across, but you do run across like broken down, like the Harkonnen have broken down, and there's a bunch of guys standing around a vehicle.
Maybe,
with smoke
Tiger.
coming out of it.
Right, okay.
But it's not like it's not quite the same scale as the other things. Yeah.
Right. But I guess those kind of events are something throughout the live. You said it's a live game, right? So
Yeah.
you might patch something in and
Oh,
be like,
for
hey, we've
sure.
added a bunch of new events that can
Yes.
happen in the deep desert. The
Yeah, I mean,
sky's the limit for that
The,
stuff.
the joke from our end is always like launch is always just the beginning. There's so much stuff to do.
Yeah. About 500 people have asked about worm riding, but I think you've publicly said that there will be no worm riding.
Post launch,
Yeah.
we will do it one day.
At some point, yeah.
But yeah, it's not going to be there at launch. It's a very complicated thing.
So you
to
can
do,
ride
first of all,
worms.
because
You
of the way
can
the
ride
sandworms are
giant
around,
worms.
but also because we needed to have a really strong purpose in the game.
Yeah, you can't just have everyone unlock it and then just be blasting around.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we give it the time to figure out the right design for how sandworms should work.
What if you could go to the south of the planet and find one of the baby ones that they get the water of life from and just have it as a skateboard?
Yeah, that could work.
Maybe not. Forget that.
I don't know.
That'd be a good meme, like.
If we were Fortnite, we'd do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Any other pressing questions, chat? Are there AI teammates? If you don't have any friends online, or maybe if there's activities. that
Yes,
need more people, can
finally,
you go
a
to
solo
test
question.
station and be like, summon or request like an ally.
Not right now. There are in some of the story moments, there are people who will follow you around, but they're really just special story moments. So
Yeah.
it's not-
Aww.
Actually, yeah, in one of the quests I hope, there's like a couple of NPCs I could interact with.
Yep.
People are asking, will there be controller support on launch?
Yes, full controller support. In fact, we had the hands-on, and one of the journalists today said to me, like, "Oh, I can't play games with mouse and keyboard." I was like, "Oh, let me find you a controller because it works fine. It's fine."
Right,
Yeah.
pop it in.
What the
Okay,
heck?
cool. People are asking about the payment model. Is it like a one-time plan to be a one-time payment thing, or a
Definitely be
subscription?
one time at launch, and then it won't be subscription. I can say that for sure.
Right.
The rest of sort of microtransactions and things like that is still being sorted out. So we will talk more about it when we have a very clear plan there.
Cool.
Okay.
Mr. Wampeg, who's a friend of mine, are there handheld lasguns planned for late game?
Yes, there are las guns in the game, and you can fire them at people and kill them.
Nice.
If you
Killing
aim them at
people.
a shield, they will automatically turn off so that you can't fire.
No,
And that's
I don't
because
think the
in
game
our
requires
backstory,
friends.
One of the major cities in the world got blown up by a nuclear blast of a shield hitting a lasgun hitting a shield.
Yeah.
And so Chome now only import lasguns that have the safety switch on them.
Right, so it can
Arrakis.
detect
Yes.
like the mission of the shield or whatever
Yeah.
and say, I'm not shooting in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I know it'd be cool for everyone to nuke each other, but also hard to make a good game if everyone's nuking each other.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, someone in their base just opens the window and single las blast hits and just takes out the whole base instantly.
I have a story to tell
How
you guys.
do the levels work? So like as
Remind
you're
me.
playing through the game, do you earn XP? Is it like the kind of classic system of earning XP?
Related
spending
to
it in
Kingdom
different
Come.
ways?
Yeah, you get XP when you level up. You earn intel points. Intel points allow you to unlock technology tree. You also get skill points, which you can spend in the skill trees for the different archetypes. You know, pretty standard stuff. And you can also find intel points in bases. As you
Yeah, I
explore
found
and
some
things.
myself. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So it's kind of at some point you start
Yes,
like
the
finding more intel points and
NDA
earning
is
less
over.
in the leveling system.
Right, so it kind of guides you to a certain point and then says if you want
Just
to
say
progress
controller
more,
Kingdom
go find
Come.
it.
Yep.
I like
And
that.
I will know.
How does respec? This one's for me actually. How does respecking work? Like, can you go
Probably-
to someone to
probably.
respec? Is it on a cooldown? Is it a big cost?
I actually don't know yet. Right now it's just a button you push in the menu if you want to respec for free. But that's kind of a beta thing. We haven't actually sorted out. I imagine it'll be a spice cost.
You go.
Probably that's what we'll do.
You
We'll
guys
make it
say
a
bye
big
to
bit
Boo.
of
He wants
cost,
to go.
an increasing amount of
Mwah.
spice to keep respecking.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, I think we have gone slightly over our allotted
They are
30
watching it.
minutes. So thank you, Joel, for the deep dive, and thanks for having me out here. It's been such a cool event. If you're at Gamescom, you should come and see. We're in Hall 6. The booth looks like literally this. This is outside, and it's just going to be a row of people taking
Cool.
pictures of it. I've been out there, and literally every 5 seconds there's someone taking pictures. Really, really cool booth. So come and check it out. But,
Yeah. This
Thank
looks
you for
really good.
Also, thank you again for the world exclusive gameplay reveal on the channel. We appreciate it.
Thanks for
And
talking to me.
absolutely my pleasure. And I'll get a base key, right? Oh, you're not the right one to speak to. You said no power.
Don't ask me. We'll get you something.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you everybody. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you're at Gamescom, come on over to Hall 6 and come say hello. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. I'm not going. Okay. Panic. Okay. So here's the thing. Just a few concerns that you guys had. When it comes to games, when the game dev does a showcase like this, it's very different than when a game comes out. I got to play the Act 2 of Baldur's Gate 3 in January of the same year that Baldur's Gate got released. And things looked very different than what you saw in Baldur's Gate Act 2. So there's a few things in the process of making a game that are priorities. So for example, setting the baseline of core mechanics that you want in the game and all this. Things like animation and those details. A lot of these things, they get refined when the game is getting ready to ship. Okay, so, and also people who saying that the game looked bad, you can't compare a game that's a base building multiplayer with a single player game. You just can't. In fact, from what I have seen, from this type of game, I feel like this is one of the games that looks the best, if not the best. I feel like the competition to graphics on this game is kind of like Once Human, and I find that this game is a lot more immersive than Once Human. So I feel like a lot of people who don't understand this kind of genre and this kind of game and what you're getting from a game like this are talking things that they just don't know what they're talking about. So for little details like animations and things like that, those things will get sorted out. Also, we were watching a stream from a projection from something else, So they have a Steam page, and I'm sure they will release more videos on Steam page, on YouTube, and things like that will give you a better look into those details. When it's early in a game process like this, things that you're looking for is mechanics of the game, classes, things that you can do with different classes. You're looking at systems that build the game. the little details you need to pay attention, obviously, but when a release date and something like that is closer on, because this far back is just not the worry of a game development. They will get to that part soon. Yes, so I do want to tell you guys about Kingdom Come, and I would really appreciate if you guys click the link. This was a sponsor segment to watch this, and the reason why I said yes, it's because I play lots of games that are survival building simulators, sometimes on stream, but I play them like I have no life off stream. So this kind of game I'm really interested in. I played over 100 hours of Once Human, 120 hours, and that was like in 1 week. I have a problem. It's also something kind of like Pal World. I played Pal World for 150 hours in like 2 weeks. I basically play every single one of these games. It's the kind of game that I really like. So I thought it would be interesting to check it out. It looks really good. It looks to be one of the most immersive of these games. And I can't wait to see more about them. So, here's the thing. I usually start stream 2 hours from now. And I'm trying to think if we just say fuck it and start stream now. But sometime in the middle of the stream, I need to make a food break. Or if we just start playing Kingdom Come and talking about Kingdom Come 2 now. I had a cereal bar. Because we could have 2 streams, you know, I could come back. But I will tell you guys a little thing about Kingdom Come before I forget. That store. When I entered that room, it was like an art gallery with a painted ceiling, and I got to play Kingdom Come 2 there for 4 hours. I was looking for a computer, and when I found a computer for me, Toby from More Horse Studios, he came to me and he was like, I'm sorry, but we only have mouse and keyboard and controller. We don't have a dance pad for you. I hope that's okay. Fox, thank you so much.
Noise.
Thank you so much for the 32 months. Thank you. Thank you. They were very sweet. What a shame. Yeah, so I couldn't play Kingdom Come 2 on a dance pad. That's sadly not something they had available. But you know, they did think of it. And Sir Toby is definitely really cool. He organized the event, and you see this hoodie that I'm wearing. I'm wearing this hoodie today because yesterday I was wearing it and my mom said it looked really cool. So this hoodie, during the event of the Kingdom Come, when it got like evening, they gave everybody this hoodie so people wouldn't get cold. And that was just so thoughtful. And if they were this thoughtful in preparing an event for the game, to me, it shows that they were also very thoughtful in the game, which they were. I don't remember if I mentioned this in my video, but the very first time that I got to interact with a pot to eat, because Henry was like hungry, and Henry actually picked up a spoon and swooped from the pot, and it just made me so happy, because it's like, it's such a little detail, you know, but it makes such a big difference. And one of the devs was around, and I called her, and she was like, oh, you're gonna love, because we have put so many of these in the game, so many of those animations that just makes it feel even more, you know, how do I say this? Immersive. Lobo, thank you so much for the prime. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for the prime. I really appreciate your support. I'm really trying to make a decision. Pox, thank you, thank you. I don't know if I. Okay, how about this, you guys? I think I will end the stream for now because it's a bit early, and I hate if I'm eating and you guys are waiting for me. I feel like I can't eat. I'm like, oh no, because I hate when people are waiting for me. So I will see you guys in less than 2 hours. In less than 2 hours, and we can play Kingdom Come and talk everything about Kingdom Come. Okay? I will just eat and get all good and all that. Mwah! Meanwhile, you can watch the video that I posted on YouTube. Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye. Have a good one. I'm so excited to tell you guys. So excited. Bye-bye.